welcome to everyone who is a part of the first community forum of AGEUSA. We're very excited to be able to bring valuable information to parents today, and we're so excited that you can be with us. We thank you to those of you who have sent your questions ahead of time, as well as those of you who are going to be able to ask questions during the program, and those of you who are going to be viewing the video at a later date. We know you're all going to benefit greatly from this program. So again, thanks for being here. Before we start, we'd like to tell you about our website, which is ageusa.net. We encourage you to visit it over the coming days so you can find information about our group, and you can also contact us, send us emails, send us questions. We'll be happy to hear from you. And if you'd like to join our group, we'll be more than delighted to have you join us. Okay, I'd like to start out by introducing the members of our panel. We have Mrs. Rosamond Clark Beecham, who is an expert in the area of special education. We have Mr. Martin Osai, who's an expert in transitions from elementary to middle, to high school, and to college. We have Mrs. Sarah Adazi, who is an expert in the area of English and social sciences. We have Mr. Nana Mensah, who is an expert in the area of gifted and talented. And we have Mrs. Betty Jemper, who is an expert in the area of parenting. And we have Miss Helena Grant, who's an expert in the area of college issues. So welcome to our distinguished panel. We're going to be providing valuable information to parents today. Now, before we begin, I'd like to ask each member of the panel to please kindly introduce themselves briefly so the audience knows a little bit about them. Okay, I would like to start, please, with Rosamond Beecham.
Thank you, Esther, and thank you all for coming. My name is Rosamond Beecham, and this will be my 12th year in education. I have taught at all levels of the grade levels. Currently, I'm into special education in the middle school, and I work with Dallas ISD Independent. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Martin Osai, if you can please go ahead.
Hello everyone, my name is Martin Osai. I am an educator with the Dallas Independent School District also. I did 8 years of classroom teaching. In the last 15, almost 16 years, I've been involved in instructional coaching and mentoring science teachers. I am also a minister, and I have worked in all the different school, elementary, middle, and high school, and are very passionate about our young people and helping them transition from grade school to college. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Sarah Adazi, if you would please go ahead and give us your introduction. Oh, I sincerely apologize. Sarah will be joining us in just a little bit. She is handling some important issues for us right now. Okay, so Nana Mensah, if you'll go ahead, please.
Yes, it is my pleasure to introduce myself. My name is Nana Mensah. Most people know me as Franco. I work with the Fort Worth Independent School District. I've been with the district, this is my 18th year. I have been in the classroom for the most part. I left the classroom just the beginning of this year to join the gifted and talented department. I'm married. I have 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. My wife is also an educator. I have certain interests and hobbies. Travel is the biggest one. Reading, watching movies, swimming. Great swimmer. My kids love swimming also, and they love to travel. The biggest thing is I never neglect an opportunity for improvement. It's my big ethic. I always will take advantage of anything that will give me a chance to grow. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Ms. Helena, can you please go ahead?
My name is Helena Grant. I found my passion as a teacher by chance, but I love it and I will not do anything else. I started as a teacher in Ghana teaching mathematics. And since I've been in the US, I've taught at high school and I've taught at 2-year college and at a 4-year university as well. I am currently teaching at a 2-year college and working on my PhD, almost finishing my classes. At UNT, I'm studying curriculum and instruction with a focus on math curriculum studies. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Betty, please.
Hi, everybody. My name is Betty Jempe. I started my life as a teacher in Ghana. I taught for 10 years before coming to US. Now I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I've been doing that for since 2010. I counsel couples, individuals, and the family as a whole. Also, I'm a parent educator, which I'm very, very passionate about. I am glad to be here and to share my ideas with you.
Wonderful. Thank you, all of you. Okay, so I will go to our first question, which was sent to us online. The question reads, "Hi, I have 2 boys and one of them is autistic. Please, I have 2 questions. My first question is regarding parenting and special education. I am divorced and my husband is not in the picture at all. My autistic son needs my attention all the time, and I think my other son feels neglected. Please, do you have any tips for how I can take care of both of them without one of them feeling left out? My second question is about transitions after high school for special education students. What are some of the options for special education students after they leave high school? Thank you." Okay, which member of the panel would like to respond to this first, please?
I think I can help.
Okay.
So, first of all, we can't tell which spectrum of autism the child is on, and which of the boys are younger or older, because if the autistic one is the older one, then the parents can do activities where both of them are involved. At the same time, I know autistic kids deal with consistency. Like you have to have something like a timetable where they know on Mondays at this time this is what I do, and you'll be surprised how much they stick to it. So in as much as we want to inculcate all 2 of them in activities, we can also have timetable where we have split times for both of them. So both of them do not feel neglected, or one does not feel neglected. And we know that the autistic kids needs more time. So you have to, in your timetable, you might put more time for the autistic child and maybe less time for the other child. But make sure that most of the activities, both of them are involved, and that should be able to help in a while.
That's great. That's great. Would anyone else like to add to that, please? Maybe Betty, in your area of parents?
I think Rosemond kind of spoke to the effect of parenting already, but I will just add a little bit to it. Yeah, since the autistic child, it demands more attention, it is very important that the parent find activities that both children can enjoy together. And also, it's important that the parent find time to spend with each child separately. And so that will involve maybe finding someone to watch the other child while she's spending time with the child, whose time it is to spend time with. That will be my contribution.
That's great. That's great. Very important. Yes, if they can design activities that both children can be involved in at the same time. That way, none of them feel neglected. I like that. Great responses. Okay, I will go ahead and move to the second question.
Well, can I just add a little bit to that? In those 17 years in the general ed classroom, I came across a few autistic children, and those kids, some of them are very gifted. What they like most is structure. Once you set them up and make sure everything is structured, those gifts come out, especially in math and science. They're very structured, in art and just basic drawing. And so this parent can actually have it work to her advantage. I don't know who's older, but you can actually have that autistic child help the other sibling in certain areas, and that would just make it easy. As long as they have something they like and they're doing, they're not a problem. They're not a behavior problem. They will help their sibling, and they would love to do it. If it's every day after school for 30 minutes, if you keep it at that, that would be great. So.
Right. Good point.
Okay. So the second part to that first question was asking if there are resources for special ed students beyond high school. And the answer is yes. All colleges, whether it's a 2-year college or a 4-year college, have resources for special ed students. They have student services or offices of disability where the student can go, and depending on what kind of services the child needs, they will have to make an assessment. The child will have to bring whatever assessments they did in the high school, and then the college will also assess, and any resources that is needed will be provided to that child. So the answer is emphatically yes. There are so many other resources even beyond high school for special ed students.
Great. Go ahead, Rosemary.
I just also wanted to add to the parents that just because your child is autistic does not mean they can go as far as the other child can go. I have kids on my caseload who are autistic, but they are in the general ed class, they are in the mainstream class, and I have had them since 6th grade, and now they're in the 8th grade, and they are in pre-AP. They are doing as much good stuff as the general ed kid. So just because the child is labeled SPED or has autism does not mean that child cannot go as far as the other brother can go. So that's a form of encouragement.
That's great. Okay, so we'll move on to the second question now. Good evening. My child is in the GT program at her school, and I think it is supposed to challenge her because she was very bored before. However, she is still not satisfied. She told me that she's not as bored as she used to be, but she's still a little bit bored. Please, is there any online program or anything else that you can recommend for a child who is very smart, so that maybe I can do it with her at home to keep her from getting too bored with education? Thank you. Who would like to respond to this question, please?
Yes, I will. Gifted and talented education starts from the kinder level. We have them in segments, K through 2, 3 through 5, 6 through 12. And so I wish I knew exactly what age group this child is in or what grade level this child is in, but maybe we can contact the parent and get more information so we can give them additional information. But basically, social emotional learning, it's a big part of gifted and talented. Those kids get bored real easy. You know, they're 4th grade kids who can do 7th grade work and probably do better than the 7th grader. Okay, so if this child is in a 4th grade classroom, obviously they're going to become a behavior problem, because all the teacher is going to do with that child is have that child help other children. That's not that child's job. The child's not a teacher. That child is there to learn. So that's where differentiation comes in, where you have to give that child enough challenging work, projects, all right, and enough challenging work to make that child be interested in school or her education. So I see where the parent is coming from, that the child is board, but like I said, we don't know what age group, so we are hoping that we will get that information. But Renzulli learning, it doesn't matter what age, it's a good. I will type it up in the chats.
If you could just spell it out slowly, someone might like to write it down quickly.
Okay, it's a professor from Connecticut, University of Connecticut, and it's him, his wife, Mrs. Renzulli, and a few other colleagues, other professors who have set up this program. And it's real big, even in the national stage, when it comes to gifted and talented education. And it starts with R-E-N-Z-U-L-L-I. It's his name, Renzulli. And then learning, it's like one word, RenzulliLearning.com. And you're going to be able to pull all that information. So these are some resources that parents can use to challenge their little ones at home. And this these resources allow kids to be living here in Dallas, but knows everything about Egypt or Turkey or just about anywhere in the world. And so that, children who are interested in all the different aspects of gifted and talented learning, or who have all the different gifts, have an opportunity to explore, and it's not just in, say, content, math, reading, it's in the arts, creative arts, leadership, all those skills are shown there in Rwenzori. So it is actually a big resource, regardless of what age group or what grade level that the child is in.
Yes, that definitely sounds like a valuable resource that will keep any child from getting bored. So,
yeah, being engaged. So, but we would love to know what age group this child is in, because, AP, like Pastor Martin says, once you get to middle school, right, you start with the AP classes, and I guess those are your gifted classes, high school, and so on and so forth. But if the child is not being challenged, the parent needs to get with the teacher and together find out what's going to keep this child engaged.
Great, thank you, Nana. Go ahead, Betty. You had something to add?
Yeah, I'm glad that there are resources for situations like that. But I also identify some parenting, skills that will be helpful over here. Even though the child complains that she's bored in school, I believe she doesn't get bored as soon as she goes to school in the morning or enters the classroom. So the parent can have open conversations with the child and find out what times of the day is she bored in the classroom, or during what subject classes that she's bored. In that way, when the parent is seeking help, she will know exactly how to narrate the issue to the resource person and seek the right, resource for the child.
Absolutely. That's great. Okay. For the next question, I'm going to turn to the audience who's here right now. So if any of the parents who are participating live now, if you have any question at all, you can go ahead and ask at this point, please.
So the question I wanted to ask is that there is the interest, or there is the push to get all our kids to a 4-year college, and we tend to think that if you do not do too well, then probably you can go to a community college. But I do believe that there is an advantage in going to a community college, do a 2-year program, and then progress on to a 4-year college where you just finish with your the other 2 years and come out with your bachelor's. But however, this has to do more with finance. I think it makes more of an economic sense to do so. Is that the case? If it isn't, can someone help me to try and explain what would be the advantage of going through a 2-year college and then continuing your program in a 4-year normal college, what one would like to say? Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Steve. And you know what, members of the panel, since this question was almost exactly the same as another question that we received beforehand, I think it will be wise for me to go ahead and read the question that we received beforehand at this point, so that we can tackle all at once, because the questions are so similar. For a moment, I even thought maybe that question was from Steve, but then I saw the name here is different, because the question is almost similar. Okay, let me read the question, please. Okay, so this one says, hi, my son will be graduating next year, and we want him to attend a community college near us for 2 years before transferring to a 4-year university so that we can save some money. However, we want to know if that could affect his career opportunities in the future. Do companies prefer to hire people who went to 4-year universities for all their studies? In other words, do companies look down on students who attended community college because community colleges are considered to be easier than 4-year universities? Thanks for your reply. So it's almost exactly the same. So please, Helena, over to you.
Before I answer that question, I wanted to add on to the previous question briefly. We were talking about the age of the child. If the child is in high school UT Austin has a good program that is an honors college online for high school kids that parent can also look into. It's online, so I just wanted to chip that in.
Okay, that's great.
To the current question, the big answer is no, a big no to whether companies or any other group consider students who go to the community college inferior to those who go to 4 years. It's a no, and one of the statements said that the community college is easier. I would like to also say that is not necessarily true. There are things in place that might make the community college look easier. For example, the community college has smaller class sizes. So the faculty members at the community college are able to work with the students on a more personal basis, which helps a lot compared to some of the 4-year universities that have huge classes. The professors don't even know all the students. Teaching assistants are grading papers. So the professor doesn't really get to know what students are strong in, what mistakes students are making. If you compare that to a community college, the faculty member is doing everything. So we get to really know our students, because I've worked at both places, both community college and a 4-year. We get to know our students, and because the classes are small, we get to relate to them at the personal level. So it might make it seem easier, but not necessarily. The rigor of the course is the same. It is cheaper to start the first 2 years at the community college and continue to finish the last 2 years at the university. I will tell you what companies look at when they are looking for applicants. They're looking for students who have done internships. They're looking at, some of them will look at GPAs. So it's not whether you went to community college or not. My advice to students when they transfer to universities is that when you get to the university, get involved in the recruitments. A lot of the companies go to the university campus when you're in 3rd year and 4th year, and that's when you're going to be there to recruit. And that's what you need to make sure that you get involved in. So it has nothing to do with whether you started at a community college or not. And again, parents seem to think that every student, every child has to go to a 4-year university. There are so many courses at a community college level that will end up in an associate degree that will earn more income than even going to a 4-year university. So that is something students will have to look at as well. I know we all want our children to get bachelor's degree, master's degree, and even go beyond that. But it is time we start looking at some of the programs that are career oriented at the community college level that honestly give you a more stable job and more higher income than some of the 4-year universities. I'm not discouraging 4-year universities, they are great. And if your child can get a scholarship and go straight to a 4-year university, go for it. But if you're thinking financially, then you're better off starting at the community college level. So I'll throw it to the rest of you to add on.
That's great. That's great. It's very important for people to be open-minded about education. Great. Well, Martin, go ahead, and then when you're done, we'll ask Steve if we've answered his question fully or
no. After him.
And I will also contribute after Martin. Great. Your microphone is off, Martin.
Huge economic benefit to the families, but I wanted to add also that there are programs even in the high schools these days that allow students to get on a dual track. We have early college programs. Those of you who are in Texas, there are a lot of them now emerging. They're growing very fast, where students are taking are in high school, but taking community college classes. Now, the beauty of that is these classes are free to the high school kids because of the partnerships between the high schools and the community colleges. My own daughter, Estinam, is in a similar program. She will graduate high school and would have finished an associate degree at the same time as she gets her high school diploma. Guess what that has done? It saved her 2 years of college tuition, basically. That is cut off completely. And she will go to a 4-year university in a junior year immediately from high school. So you save 2 years, she can move on straight, fast track, and do a master's. So again, these community colleges, and especially when there is that partnership with the high school, is a huge benefit. It's a win-win for parents, for the child who has the aptitude to do it. Istinam now, by the time she's in her senior year, would have been done with her community college classes. So it's a huge benefit for our families to seriously look into our community college pathway, and where there is that partnership with the high school, or taking dual credits while you're in high school and getting some of those knocked out of the way.
Yes, wow, that's very important. Okay, yeah, dual credit is such an amazing thing. To be able to graduate high school and you already have an associate degree, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, Nana, you had something to contribute, please.
Yes, it's some of the same things. You save money, basically. The student to teacher ratio is the greatest ever, because you don't have to sit outside and listen through a microphone or speaker while you're trying to learn. Helena said something that was great. Just their relationships, being able to deal directly with the professor makes a lot of difference, because then they can help you the best way they can. That it's not a teaching assistant or somebody else who is doing the work. Also, if the kids, when 17 years, 18 years, they move out of the house and they go maybe 1,000 miles away. Look, when people start school freshman year, by the time you're in your junior year, I would say maybe 15 to 20% of the kids have dropped out. Why? Because they don't know how to behave being away from home for the first time. When they stay at home and go to a community college that's nearby, they pay in-state, they come home every day. So it's just like the high school time. You get on them about their homework. They get rid of all their electives. So by the time they get to that junior year, they are matured enough to withstand staying away from home. So thank you. That's all I have to add.
Yes, very true, very true. They're more mature by the junior year, for sure. Okay, Helena, I noticed your hand was raised. Go ahead.
Yes, just to add a little bit to it, and Nana already started that, definitely maturity level when the student have to go away. And I want to bring that into the early college, high school. It's a great program, but again, you need to assess your child before you send them into that program, because not every child is at the maturity level needed for that. Because again, I deal with students that are in early college, high school right now. Some of them, the maturity level is just not there. So in that case, sometimes I wonder if we are really helping them. It is great for some of the students who are ready for it. Yes, you save 2 years of money and you save 2 years of schooling, because you're doing high school and community college at the same time. So that is great. But again, parents, please assess your children. Some of them just need to finish the high school and get to that maturity level and then go to the community college. I always tell students it's not a race. Some of us are still in school, so it's never a race. It's what you can do and when you can do it, and do it well. The important thing that I wanted to add.
Can I piggyback on Helena? That's a great point. It comes back to gifted education. The gifted kids get bored. So if they're in high school and they're not being challenged enough, that would be a great program. So I'm thinking maybe Pastor's daughter is gifted. So once you're gifted, that challenge, that's what you want. You always want to do things that are beyond you. Some people move up 2 grade levels. Some people are in let's say 5th grade, and they can do 7th grade work. And do it and do it well, do it better than some 7th graders. So those gifted children, for some reason, I guess it's their brain that's mature. The age is probably not, because a lot of them play around a lot because they're bored. But their brains are pretty deep. So that would be a great program for those kids.
Yeah, it's very important to know your child, to know what they are capable of handling, to know what they're ready for. Yes.
Well, it's not just the child, the teacher also. You have to collaborate with the teacher.
Absolutely, because that teacher is working with them daily. They can be a source of a great source of information for you. Absolutely. Steve, let me take a moment and check in with you.
I think Sarah had a hand up.
Oh, really? Okay. Let me just check in real quickly with Steve just to make sure we are answering his question and we haven't gone too far off tangent. Okay, Steve, if you can please give us some feedback. If we haven't answered it fully, just go ahead and repeat it, please.
Thank you so much once again. Those were great information and provided. And I would like to progress on to something else, but I would wait my turn. But I'd like to thank all the presenters for the great information given. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Great. I'm glad we're able to answer it. And I will turn over to Sarah, though, because I think she had something to add to that question before we move on to another one. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yes, so just a little bit that I wanted to add to all the awesome explanations and discussion going on right now. So like Nana said, not every kid is gifted and is able to take the AP classes, right? And so like Helena said, sometimes if they just have to go through the high school, college prep classes to just finish before they go on to the community college to build up on that is fine. But it's important as parents to just see if our kids can challenge themselves a little bit, right? So even if the kid is not gifted and the kid can challenge themselves to the point where they can make a B in an AP class rather than 100 in a college prep class, then it will be better to go to the AP class to get the B there to make the credit for college. So it's important that parents support their children in this area. Observe your child. See, okay, the child needs to know to challenge themselves, but if they don't, the parent can give them that little push there to see if they can work on that and go on.
Great info. Okay. Now, if you hang on just 1 second, one of our guests has raised his hand, please.
Okay.
Bonsu, if you would go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, man, for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
Once again, I will thank you all for the great work that you are doing in the community. It's well appreciated, and I'll give you all a call.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's the president of KOGA.
Oh, okay.
That's KOGA president, yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
My very question is, if you do have a kid who often doesn't usually changes his mind concerning what he wants to do in the future, how do you help that kid to narrow it down and make a decision?
Okay, great. First of all, Mr. Bonsu, thank you so much to you and KOGA for welcoming us into the group. We are so happy to be a part of the group, and I'm so glad you were able to make it to this meeting. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I invited him.
Okay, after COVID is over, hopefully we can all meet in person. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It was way overdue. Thank you for coming on board.
Thank you so much. Yes. Okay, well, that is a great question. I think it's definitely in the area of parenting. I'm guessing Betty might want to take that, or is there any other member of the
I would love to contribute after Betty on that also.
Great. And
well, for the parenting aspect of this question, I know though you are the parent of the child, but when it comes to academics, you may not know your child that much to guide the child what to do. So my suggestion is to seek student counseling as well as career counseling for that child. Now, when you seek career counseling, the counselor will do personality assessment on the child, and they will also do career, assessment on the child, and they will combine the child's abilities, the child's passion and interest to help the child, choose a big area where they can also narrow it down, which the child can study that area that the child can study, or match his or her personality and talent with the career. So my suggestion is to seek career counseling for the child. And when you seek career counseling, the counselor will do both the personality assessment plus the career assessment and combine those together and help the child to select an area that they can focus on.
Great. That is a good point, because there are people skilled in these areas, right? And they're available to help us. That's wonderful. Okay, let's go over to Martin, and then I believe Rosamond, and I think Helena had her hand up earlier also. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Martin.
I had my hand up earlier.
Oh, you too? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so after Martin, I guess we'll go to
I was going to piggyback on what Sarah said, so I'll go back and do that.
Okay.
So the first thing we want to look at is at what age the child is when we are concerned about what they want to do or they keep changing their mind. That is expected at the elementary years. Even in the middle years, some kids have not really decided what they want to do. But as the parent, you also want to be very observant and observe your child to see what is it that this child loves doing, right? Some kids are very hands-on. They like to break things and put things apart, so you begin to know that there's somebody who would like to do something with their hands. So your observation as a parent is key. At the high school level, of course, as Ms. Betty said, there is those guidance counselors who can really give the child some diagnostic assessment that would point to what kind of career they might be interested in. But at the early elementary levels, I would say as a parent, be patient, be observant. They may change their mind 2, 3, 4 times, and it's okay. You do want to support your child in what interests them, right? So find what they are interested in and encourage that. If they are interested in, hands-on thing, provide those kinds of opportunities, places where they can do that, toys and things that can help them do that. So that's what I wanted to say, that it is more of you, the parent, being observant, but also be patient. And once you begin to see certain interests, put them in places where they can develop that. Lately, some of the areas that are becoming very common is coding for children. If there are coding opportunities in your community, see if they are interested. I usually expose my kids to so many things until they figure out what they want, and I support them. The unfortunate thing in our African community is that sometimes we want our children to live the dream that we did not live, right? I want to be a doctor, and it didn't happen, so my child has to be a doctor. I know when my son came to me and said he wants to be an actor, I have to support him in that, and he has done great in a performing arts high school, and now getting ready to go to college and major in acting and architecture. So find what the child is interested in and support them, observe and find where their interests are, and provide avenues and opportunities for them to develop that.
Great. Yeah, we've all heard the saying about parents trying to live their dreams through their child. So that's a good reminder for us to let our child go the way that's best for them, not the way that we wish we had gone. Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, Rosamond, go ahead, please.
Okay, so basically, I think everything I was going to say has been said. But once again, I will say that let your child's teacher be your friend. It looks like we the teachers spend more time with the kids than the parents. So constant communication with your child's teacher will be able to also guide you, for you to know that, when I'm not doing math, or when this child is done doing his assessment or his assignment, this is what he's doing. He's drawing, he's doing this, he's doing that. So basically, keep in touch with your child's teacher, and you will do amazing, because they're going to tell you stuff that you do not know for yourself. We spend less time with the kids than the teachers do. That was all I wanted to add.
Good.
Okay.
The students are at school from 8 to 3:30. They're there with the teachers a lot. So, yeah. Okay, so we will hear from Helena. She had something else to add. And Nana, I know you had something to add to Sarah's response, but since that's an old question, I want to get done with this particular question, and then we'll take care
of it. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, thanks. So, Helena.
I think I'll just add to what all of you have been saying, and to the parent. It's okay for the child to be changing their mind at this time. I think it's still in the exploratory stage. some of us found our passion after our first degree, after our bachelor's degree. So, because sometimes the kid just doesn't know. So just exploring different things. And also one thing that I recommend is if you can get some mentors for the kid in the different areas that the child is exploring. Because sometimes I look up at myself and I wish I had some mentors. I know Ghana, we never had advisors or anything. You just go with the flow. But I really did not know what I wanted to do when I was ready to go to the university. I just went to an area because I was good at that area. But that was really my passion. So.
Yeah, great point. And the mentor can be anyone in the school. It can be a family member. Yeah, that's very good. Great. Mr. Bonsu, let me just check with you first if you feel like we've answered your question satisfactorily before we switch to the other question that Nana wanted.
No. I was going to add to this Mr. Bonsu's question, actually.
Okay, please, go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, you're going to use myself as an example. Like I said, I was in telecommunications for the longest, just traveling all over the place. And I found out after a few years that that's not what I was passionate in. So I had to go do alternative teacher certification and get into what I'm passionate about. So it takes a while for a child to decide exactly what they want to do. They're going to have to go through the motions, and then after a while, they're going to say, "Hey, I'm real passionate about this. This is what I want to do." So I don't know the age yet, Kitty, but you may want to give them time.
Yes, after all, even we as adults, we keep changing. Sometimes, you have people switching careers at 30, at 40, so yes. Okay, so did we answer your question?
Yes, ma'am, you did, and thank you so much for answering my question. The only thing I wanted you guys to throw a little bit light on would be looking at the world. We know that the world also go through changes, and just as you guys mentioned, career, I know talents are career driven areas are a little bit different in terms of career. Sometimes it may get to a point that career might not be selling, and at that time you probably want to switch to other career or probably find a talent that can possibly help you. In that aspect, how do you also help?
Esther, let me respond to that.
Please.
Lately, an area that has become vibrant is science, STEM careers, science, technology, engineering, and math. It opens you up to a lot of avenues. Even with my son who wants to be an actor, I told him you need to get a STEM endorsement. So what is STEM? Which means in the middle and high schools, you've taken your algebra 1, algebra 2, your physics, your chemistry, your biology, environmental science. You need at least 4 or 5 sciences, right, to be endorsed in Texas, to have a STEM endorsement, which means that you have the background to do well in a STEM field, right? So encourage your students to go that direction. It used to be that when you think of a scientist, you think of some old man in glasses and lab coat in some basement somewhere. But there is science in everything today, from music. Spotify will start undergraduate students with about 150, 180,000, depending on what kind of degree they are coming out of. So those STEM careers, IT, artificial intelligence, all of these are careers that are high-paying careers these days. So I would say the foundation of STEM opens out a lot of avenues for our young people, and we should be encouraging that. And again, STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. And at the middle school level, they are in the AP, pre-AP courses. In high school, they are in AP courses. Certainly the algebra and the math courses, the sciences are the foundational courses to lead them into STEM careers. And these are the high-paying jobs these days.
I would like to add a little bit to what Pastor said just said. Yeah, there is, when a child is directed in a career, it doesn't mean one particular job. Career means a large area of careers or jobs. For instance, if your child is trying to be a people person, a person who needs to work with people, there are so many careers under that talent. So it's very important that we find the child's passion and the career area. Maybe that's the word that will explain. So it's never restricted to one job that the child will find himself out of job. For instance, the reason why I also put emphasis on passion is this. You may not be passionate about something that you're good at. Being good at or at a skill doesn't necessarily you will enjoy doing that. That is why the child needs, that career counseling will help the child to define his or her passion, area of, talent, and then choose a career or a job in that area. There's always a vast variety of jobs under one career.
Yes, that's great. Thank you so much, Betty. And go ahead, Sarah, you had something to add?
Yes, so I think I like the discussion going on because it's an eye-opener to most parents. And I wanted to add that, just like everyone is saying, the career counselor can help guide the student into the career pathway. And sometimes it's not just obvious, even with all of that. So like Franco said, he had to go here to communications, go over here, go that. I'm one of those. Okay, so if the child's pathway is more conceptual than what is obvious, sometimes the child will have to go through a few things, right? So with me, okay, initially I love teaching and what I'm doing right now, but I didn't even realize that I was supposed to be teaching. Okay, so in school, in college, I tutored my colleagues, and even though I wasn't there most of the time, I just got everything. But like she's saying, it's not everything you're good at that you're supposed to, be doing. And so I tutored my colleagues. I was offered a TA position in college after graduation in tech, but I refused it because I didn't feel like I was supposed to be a teacher. Okay, and then I was in the military and I loved it. Okay, yes, I loved it there and I loved what I was doing there. I was working with air traffic control. I loved it. And then I changed and I came over here and I felt lost. Like, okay, I want to do air traffic control, but my age at entering this country couldn't allow me into that field. So then I had to, okay, what do I want to do? What do I want to be? Healthcare. Healthcare is not me. Right? So sometimes the child will have to just, go through some of these challenges to determine exactly, because even right now, even though I'm enjoying teaching, I still feel like there's something more. Yes, and I know what that something more is, because I think about 3 years ago, I was telling a friend of mine that, you know what, our parents back home, they didn't do good to us, because what we wanted, like who was saying that don't live your dreams through your children, right? They just want you to get a college degree, go to school. Excuse me, the child has interests, right? And right now my passion is music and ministering. And I was telling some friends that, you know what, if I had the chance right now, I'm going back to music school. Because that is where I kind of feel at home. When I'm ministering in music, I'm like, I'm on the clouds, I'm on the moon. That is mine. When I'm encouraging people, when I'm talking to people and helping them achieve what they want to achieve, that is when I feel like, okay, so that part was conceptual, and it took a while for me to actually discover it, because back home, people didn't really encourage you if you went to music and the arts and stuff like that. Yeah. So one thing I want parents to know over here today is, please let your kids pursue their own desires and goals. We're just there to guide them. We're just there to guide them. Okay, you need an education. Yes, but you're going to pursue your desire and your dreams also, alongside getting that, basic education that you need to be successful in anything, in the future. So let's please let the children pursue their desire. And like you said, your student teacher is your friend, because they know what their likes and dislikes are in the classroom and in learning. And they can help guide us to, help them make those choices and decisions that will be helpful to them.
Absolutely. Great response. I see 2 hands up, so let me go to those before I read the last question.
Esther, there's another Koga personality here, Clifford, who is also a prospective member of this association because he's a college professor actually.
Okay. Hello, Clifford.
He's a financial consultant, but he does that on a part-time basis. So.
Okay, and I mentioned our website at the beginning of the program, but let me mention it again for Clifford and anyone else who has joined since I said it. Our website is ageusa.net. So if you're interested in joining the group or you just have any questions for us, please feel free to visit our website, ageusa.net, and you can send us a message through the contact form. We are definitely happy to receive new members. We want to grow together as an organization so we can help Ghanaian children and Ghanaian parents, both here in the US and back home. So welcome, Clifford, and everyone else again. And my Steve and Kay Bonsu have your hands up. And I'm sorry I didn't notice who had your hand up first, but since we were answering a question from Bonsu, I think let's go to him to make sure that we answered his question before I move back to Steve, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for the opportunity. I think it still dwell on the question that I asked, because with the last speaker who commented made a very important statement that I would like you all to throw a little bit light on, because sometimes, just as she said, one may be good at something and might also have a passion, but here is the case where some people may be versatile. They might be good in so many things, or they might have passion for so many things. And at that time, it becomes so difficult as to which way to go.
God.
And at that time, we, like as she says, some of us being adults were struggling through that. But how do we become better to even guide our kids when it comes to that, please?
Okay, great question. Would any of you kind of like to go ahead, please?
I can contribute to say something to that. You could be gifted in multiple, like with GT kids, we have kids that have about 5 gifts. Some people have 1. And like I was going to say something about what Sarah said, that you can challenge your kids and they can go to AP classes and make a B. Well, we have students who are not exactly at the top, not highly gifted, but they're in the talent pool. And so those kids can challenge themselves also. And then we have there are 3 stages. And then we have kids who are capable. They're on the borderline. They're capable of getting into the talent pool. Those kids can also challenge themselves and keep moving up. So that's how it works. But if you're multi-talented, I think it will come back to what you're most passionate in. Okay, let's say you play basketball, you play soccer. Let's use what's his name? He used to play for Seattle. He was a quarterback in college, and he was drafted by I think a baseball team. I think it was the Yankees. All right, I'm not sure if it was the Yankees, but he was pretty good in baseball and basketball. Now, when you play baseball, your money is guaranteed, regardless of what happens. When you play football, you may not get that guarantee. You just get the signing bonus. But he chose to play with football. Why? He was more passionate about football. So it just goes where the most passion is. And so we have kids that are multi-talented. They're talented in music. They're talented in art, just basic, they're artistic. Drawing, they're very good in content, math, science, everything. And they're confused, but it's going to come to their passion, what they're most passionate in.
Right, great response. Go ahead, Helena.
I'll just add to that. I think it comes to a point where parental direction is also necessary, especially when the child has like multiple areas that they want to go into and they are confused. Because again, as parents, I think we know more than our children. I mean, we've had the experience, even though I kind of held back because the kids will not agree with us. So I wouldn't say we know more than our children.
No, we don't.
We've had practical experiences which the children have not had. That's why I stopped.
Yes.
We've had practical experiences that sometimes will help us make some decisions that the child cannot make. So it comes to a point where if the child especially has multiple things that he or she is passionate about, the parent can look at the prospects of the different things. Which one is, at the end of the day, we all want stability for our children. We want good job and income. So the parent can look into that and see, and actually sit the child down and talk and say, hey, I know you're passionate about these too, but this will give you a more stable job. And it doesn't mean that the child is necessarily going to listen to you. We all know that, but it is a good place to start from, where parental guidance or the guidance of some mentors can come into play. Yeah.
Yes, great point, because really those of us from Ghanaian background, we're all aware that at least in the old days, and I don't know if it's gone completely or not, but at least in the old days, what was the main thing that parents were trying to gear their children into? Be a doctor, engineer, a lawyer, those kind of things. And it's not because they hated us. No, it's because they wanted, like you mentioned, Helena, stability for us. Every parent wants the good of their child. So they were trying to steer children in areas that they knew were dependable, that you can definitely make a good living, a wealthy living in this area. But as Sarah mentioned earlier, you should also look at the child's desires, the child's passions. After all, life is not only about money. You can become a doctor or whatever other job and make tons of money and be miserable the rest of your life. Is that what you want for your child? No. So I guess the best way is if you can find a way of steering your child into something they're passionate about, but which will also allow them to earn a good living. And I'd like to add real quickly before I turn over to Martin, I think you have your hand up, is that two examples I'd like to give of two people I know. And this proves the point that if you have a child who is passionate about two things equally, they can't choose. You have to realize also that they don't necessarily need to give up one for the other. Because I have a friend who's a chemist, okay? He's in his 40s right now. He's a chemist and he works as a chemist by day. But guess what? In the evenings, he plays in a band with friends. And occasionally on weekends, maybe twice a month, they go and play in a club or in a restaurant somewhere because he is so passionate about music. So guess what? He's been able to do two things he loves. He loves the sciences, he loves music. And he has found a way to incorporate both into his life. So you can have someone who's passionate about two things and they may be able to find a way to incorporate it in their lives. And one last example I'll give also of this person I know who worked as a businessman until the age of about 50, 51. He said his dream all along was to teach. That was his passion. But he knew there wasn't a lot of money in teaching. He knew that he could make a decent living in teaching. He could at least have a decent house, a decent car and all that. But he said he wanted a lot of luxuries. So he decided to work in the business field until he was about 50, and then he switched and went into teaching, which was his greater love. Okay, so again, I'm just trying to point out, because I know Mr. Bonsu had mentioned, what if you have a situation where someone has several passions, they can't choose, and I wanted to point out that life is not necessarily about having to have one career for your whole life or one passion your whole life. You can have multiple ones and find a way of incorporating it both into your life. Okay, Martin.
Let me add this quickly. My director at the DT department is a stand-up comedian on the weekends.
There we go.
He's a comedian by birth, and so he loves to do it, and he's not going to give it up.
Yes, sometimes you can find creative ways of incorporating several things into your life. It doesn't have to be only one thing. Yeah, great. Yeah. Go ahead, please, Martin. Your microphone is off.
Yes. Exposure is very important. Exposing our kids to different things outside of the classroom. Field trips do that in the school system. But as parents, I heard Franco say he likes to travel. We like to travel too. My family, we are somewhere every holidays. We've done 27
Gotta go.
right? And we drive all the way to Niagara Falls and back to Dallas. So exposing your children to different places, different activities, different things, museums, places of interest, begin to help them figure out certain things, broaden their horizon, right? It helps them. One of the things that I love about the science museums, the one in Dallas here, the Perot Museum, I happen to be on the panel of teachers who advised the construction of that museum. And one of the things we said to the designers was to build into that museum opportunity for students with different careers that are in the field. So if you go to Perot Museum today, they took that advice. At every station, let's say paleontology station, there will be a video monitor that you can press that talks about paleontology and the type of courses you must take to be able to go in that career, right? Somebody who studies birds, the kind of courses you need to do. So this kind of exposure for our children is key. African parents, we get so busy, we don't take time to do that, right? But that is another avenue which we are missing out on when we are not exposing our kids to a lot of things out there. So I want to encourage the parents who are on here and those of you who will be hearing this recording, take time to expose your children. It will pay huge dividends in the end.
Absolutely.
Yes, I would like to add something to what Pastor Osei just said, which is my personal experience in parenting that I would like to share.
Okay. Please, I will need to move to Steve's question because Steve has been waiting for a while, so I won't be able to take on any more responses after Betty's. Okay, go ahead, please, Betty.
Okay. When a child expresses interest in the profession, we've been saying career is very broad. In a profession, find someone in that profession and visit that person at work with your child. And when you come back, sit down with your child and have open conversation. What did they like about the job? Probably sometimes children just like the uniform of that profession. But when they actually see a person doing the job at their office, it will give them a better perspective of that profession. That's all I wanted to add.
Great point. Thank you so much, Betty. Okay, Steve, sorry you've been waiting for a while, but I think you appreciated all those wonderful responses from the members of the panel. But it's your turn now, so please go ahead with your next question.
Thank you so much, Auntie Esther. Really appreciate all the responses. Well, we've been talking about career and career counselors and what have you, how you can, which direction you need to go and how. But I think the basic question that most of my viewers or my audience can, keep talking about is how do we get funding for our wards to go to school? School is no cheap here in the USA. So how? Because we know there are some parents that are able to access so much funding for their kids to go to school, but typical Ghanaian families are not able to access funding for our kids. Our kids come out of school and they owe so much. They are so much indebted to, they are so much indebted when they come out of school. So I don't know if this is the appropriate time for this to be discussed, but is there an opportunity where we can advise our Ghanaian parents as to how they can help their kids access grants and scholarship to go to school and not come out of school heavily indebted? Thank you, Auntie Esther.
You are so welcome. That's a great question. Before I turn it over to Martin, who's an expert in that field, I'd like to remind participants to please mute yourself if you're in an area where there's a lot of noise in the background, because we're getting some feedback from a couple of people. Okay. Thank you. Okay, over to you, please, Martin.
Yes. So, Steve, thank you for your question. And this is something that I am currently dealing with my son as he gets ready to go to college in the fall. I told my son two things we are looking for: scholarships and grants. Now, you do need to start very early on these things. You don't have to wait to senior year to do this. So beginning to identify the different scholarships and grants that are out there. I think there is noise coming from somebody.
Yes, I've gone ahead and
as a host, you can mute them if you
I've gone ahead and taken care of that. Yes.
Yeah. So scholarships, you don't have to pay back. Grants, you don't have to pay back. But the question then is, where do you find them? Begin from your high school guidance counselors. They know the scholarships that are out there and can advise and support your students. That's number one. Number two, your community. Within the community, there are companies that have scholarships. Your library is a good place also for information on those local companies that have scholarships. You know, we identified some even within the Dallas area that I had my son apply to. You know, if you belong to a major church denomination, I know the Presbyterian Church where I pastor, they have scholarships for high school kids. They may not be big amounts. They may be $1,000 here, $2,000 there, $5,000 here. But spread your wings wide and look for everything you can apply for. Unfortunately, though, I find that it takes time to do this. The kids are not willing to sit down and write the essay. So you, the parent, have to stay on top of it. Almost every day I'm asking my son, have you applied to this one that I sent you? Have you done this? Have you done that? And sometimes the answer is no. And that kind of frustrates me, right? So we have to stay on top of them. There was one particular scholarship. I said, bring the laptop, sit down by me. Let's open the application. Let's fill it out because the deadline is coming. So if we leave it by chance, it's not going to happen. Now, the other avenue too is athletic activities. If your students are in some type of an athletic program that colleges attract, you know, a lot of people go for the football and the basketball. Those are great. Those are very popular sports, but the competition is fierce, right? But then track and field, there are a lot of scholarships, the short put, you know, short distance running. All these have scholarships. Some of them full ride to schools that have these, you know, track and field programs. Look for, you know, non-popular sports like tennis, like golf, like lacrosse. Those are now emerging. They are not as popular or as competitive as basketball and football, right? Everybody says basketball and football. So go to some of the non-popular ones that colleges are beginning now to offer scholarships for. If you work in corporate, find out if your corporate company has scholarships for kids. Some of these restaurants we go to and eat at, you know, and buy at Starbucks, Burger King, McDonald's, Coca-Cola even. All these companies have scholarships. So beginning early, and I think that is one of the things that this organization, we should start beginning to put this type of resources on our website for families where they can begin early to explore. So those are some of the opportunities. One that usually parents don't ask is work study. Okay, Esther and I went to the same college. Esther will tell you I worked in the cafeteria the whole time I was at ORU, and I paid college through working on campus. You know, and no better place than the cafeteria. So you know, food was not my expense because I'm where the food is. But work study is such a beautiful package to add to your scholarship, your financial aid. If you don't ask in America, they don't volunteer the information. I told my son, call all the schools that have accepted you and ask them to add to your package work study. Work study can be as simple as being a monitor at the library or residence hall, you know, a hall monitor. And your housing might be free for just being a hall monitor. So we have to just explore all the avenues, right? And our local associations too. I know that every association of Dallas, we give a stipend to every high school student who graduates and continues to go to college. So you can never stop looking. But it is my hope and my dream that pretty soon we are going to begin to put these resources at our website so that families can plug into some of these opportunities. But we can never stop looking.
Great. And again, a reminder, our website is ageusa.net. So please be sure to visit our website if you have any questions or if you'd like to join our group, and if you'd like to see any of the videos or other resources that we have on the website. Okay, is there anyone who would like to add anything to what Martin just said? If not, I'll move over to the final question we have. Go ahead, please, Nana.
Thank you, Pastor. That was enlightening. But if you need grants, I think sometimes those grants will come if the child is not on your taxes. The child has their own address, those type of things, because she doesn't have a job. I think the grants mostly are based on the parents' income and so on. So, you can get a lot of those grants to support whatever scholarships you get. So even if it doesn't end up being a full ride, let's say 80%, 75%, that's a lot of savings. But you can get these grants if the child is carrying themselves on their own taxes, and maybe if they have an address of their own. Once they use their address, I think those grants are not going to be able to kick in. This is what somebody told me. I'm not sure. So.
Okay.
What do you think, Pastor?
Well, the tax issue is something that came up recently for me, so I'm exploring that also. But there might be some truth in what you are saying.
Yeah.
We just have to navigate that. So I know by this time next year, when we do this again, we should be having some more information as far as what kind of filing status, okay, provides better financial aid for your child. And I think that is still a question that I'm exploring. I do intend to talk to some tax professionals, because my 18-year-old is working now and he can file his own taxes next year. So do I drop him? Would it be better for me to let him file his own taxes?
I think so.
If I don't file him as a dependent, and that is something I'm exploring. So that is certainly an area that we need to explore as a community and be better informed. But of course, we want to do things right, correct?
Yeah.
And we want to be sure we are getting the right kind of information. The other thing that I forgot to mention is about the university itself, where your child is going and the kind of degree they are going for. There might be foundations and grants, alumni foundation money in universities also. So when you are in that process, ask the university, what type of scholarships do you have? There is somebody there who is able to give that information in the enrollment process. So that is a question we should be asking also. What type of scholarships does this university offer? If there is a university that trains a lot of lawyers or a lot of doctors or a lot of nurses, that alumni foundation usually have found money to give to kids who are going into that particular career or field of training.
Okay, great. Okay, so there was one more question that was sent to us before the meeting. There's a possibility we've actually answered this question already, because we've been talking about so many things that probably cover it. But anyway, let me go ahead and read it real quickly so members of the panel can let me know if they'd like to answer this. Okay, so this person says he has a child in college and another in middle school going to high school. He wants to know how he can be resourceful in supporting the kids. Okay, would any of the members of the panel like to take this up?
I think we have covered a lot of it, but usually it is a benefit when a sibling is getting ready to go to college and one is already in college. So if they are going to the same college, there is that benefit of, they look at, one is already there, so there is some incentive in sending the other child there also.
Well, actually, sorry, let me correct you. One is in college, but the other one is in middle school, now going to high school.
Okay. So at the middle school level, we want to start early to start looking at possible scholarships. If they have, again, like those early college programs, take advantage of it. If the child has the aptitude to do dual credit programs, you can begin to plan ahead, now, and save yourself even a year and a half or 2 years of college by encouraging the child to take some dual credit courses. Now, applying for scholarships and grants, you can start as early as elementary school. So you don't have to wait to get to high school to do that. Some of the local companies, some of the local organizations that have scholarships. Some of them are even competitions. Look for competitions that students can enter and be able to win a prize that can be in a trust for them until they are ready to go to college.
Okay, great. Anyone else want to add anything? Go ahead, please.
The other area that can be used for scholarships are also extracurricular activities. I mean, beyond sports. Extracurricular activities are always something that is looked at on your college application. So anything that the kid can get involved in, it can be volunteering at certain places, because not every kid plays a kind of sport. So you can be in a musical group, anything that you can do outside the classroom, especially if there are things that helps the community in any way. It's good on your resume when you're applying for scholarships and colleges.
Good.
And Esther, is it okay if I add one last thing?
Yes.
There's an avenue that we often don't think about, and that is life insurance. Cash accumulation life insurance is what they call the index universal life. Most families now are using it as a vehicle to put money away for college, especially when your children are younger, right? If, let's say, I have a 2, 3, 4 year old now, and I open an index universal life, that money is a life insurance, but it's growing over the years. So by the time the child is 18 and ready to go to college, you can actually have enough cash accumulation compounded to tap into that. And it's called a loan, but it's not a loan you pay back. It's your money that have grown over time. And in fact, some financial experts even advise that you take the college loan, but pay it off with the index universal life, because that 4 years or however many years that the child is in college, put that money here, let it grow, and then once they graduate, you pay up on the college loan, right? I try to stay away from college loans, but that is another way that people have found to leverage so they are not paying too much interest on college loan. And this index universal life policies perform anywhere from an average of about 6 to 7, 8%, even some. So that is another territory that we need to educate our communities about. Opening an index universal life policy for your child and overfund it, because you can by law. Put more money in there, let the money grow over time. Then even if the child has to take a college loan, you can take money out of that because you are the owner as the parent. No questions asked. It's your money that has been growing. You can take it. You don't have to pay back, and you don't pay taxes on it because you've already paid your taxes before you put the money in there. So that is another avenue, especially for those who have younger kids, to take advantage of.
Okay, thanks, Martin. It's very valuable information. I'm so glad that today we have answered a variety of questions in special education, GT, college, career, parenting, so many different areas, because I think this is all useful information for our community. And so I'd like to remind those of you who joined late and you may have missed some of the questions or answers before, to please be sure to visit our website, because the video will not be up today, but in the coming days, if you will please visit the website ageusa.net. You can view the video and get some valuable information that you may have missed at the beginning. And again, feel free to contact us at any time if there are any suggestions or things you'd like us to do for the next educational forum and so on. Feel free to suggest it as well. Okay, we are done with all the questions we've received, but I'm going to open it up one final time in case there's anyone right here who still has one question that they really want to ask. I'm going to give you that opportunity, but right now I'm done with all the questions we received beforehand. Okay, is there any parent participating who has any question? Okay, one thing I told the panel to do is I asked each one of them to prepare a short, maximum 5 minutes presentation, just in case we had very few questions and we finished very early, like in less than 1 hour, so they could present some valuable bits of information to all of you. But since we had more questions than I expected and we have gone way over an hour, It's no longer necessary for them to present anything. However, I'm going to ask each member of the panel if there's anything that you have prepared for a presentation that you feel like there's something so valuable, so crucial in that presentation that you really want to share with the parents before we leave, and you think you can do that in less than 2 minutes. I'd like to give you that opportunity so you won't feel like you prepared something and didn't have the opportunity. Okay, so is there anyone? You can just raise your hand. Go ahead, please, Alina. Your microphone.
And I'm not presenting, I just want to add something to what Martin said, because when you said something about borrowing, taking the school loan and then using your insurance to pay for it, then this came up to me that even if you have to take a loan, there are two types of loans. And if you're in an undergrad program, there is the federal subsidized loan, and then there's the federal unsubsidized loan. So if you must take a loan, you definitely want to take the federal subsidized one. That is the one that you don't pay any interest on until 6 months after the child graduates from school. So that is just money that you're using for free, and 6 months after your child graduates from school, if you pay it off within that 6 months, then you don't have to pay interest. And so the interest doesn't start until that time. If you take, because normally they offer you both, and some parents don't know and they take both. The unsubsidized one, the interest starts from day one. As soon as you take it, the interest starts accumulating. So by the time you finish college, you owe a huge amount. So I just wanted to put that out there as well.
Wow, that's very valuable information to know. Thank you so much. Thank you. Anyone else?
Let me say that what Helena just said. So just imagine, right? Your child is gone to a 4-year college, and you take the federal subsidized loan, but then you now open an Index Universal Life and you are overfunding it. So in 4 years, you have enough money there now to channel that money to pay a big chunk of that federal subsidized loan. So it's strategy, right? You pay a big chunk of it, if not all of them, depending on how much cash accumulation you have here, and that money you are taking, and you are not, it's your money that you put away there for 4 years. That is growing compound at about 7%, growth, which no bank will give you. But Index Universal Life does that because they credit your money based on how the market performs. Okay, and some of them have up to 15% growth or 13.75%. 15 is the max I know of, which I've written some of these policies for families. So again, there are so many ways to look at it, to leverage these insurance policies that have cash accumulation to pay down on college loan, or if not even pay all of it.
Okay. Well, Martin, it sounds like you have a lot of information in that area. So I'll just advise, if there's any parent listening now or later on in the video, and you want to contact Martin for any more information on that, feel free to contact us through the website. I'm the media representative, so I'll receive your email and I'll be more than happy to forward it to Martin for you if you're interested in that. Okay, Rosemont, I saw your hand up earlier. Do you have a question?
No, I was just going to add on to what Pastor Martin said.
Yes, please.
The life insurance, with the index life insurance, if you are buying, especially those of us with younger kids, it's very cheap because the price comes with your age. Like, the price is done based on your age. So sometimes with our African parents, when we talk about life insurance, they are thinking, oh, it's expensive, and I only get my money when I die. But it's not like that anymore. There are so many benefits whilst you are living to life insurance. And let's say my daughter is 8 years. If you buy $200,000 life insurance, it's just about $20 to $30 a month. Okay, but like Pastor Martin said, you can overfund it if you know that this is what you intend to use the accumulation of money for. So even though you are using your accumulated amount, that $200,000 is still intact. It's still intact. It's not like you are using that $200,000. You're just using the money you have accumulated. And if by chance you don't even use that accumulated money, if something should happen, God forbid, but you get that $200,000 plus all your accumulated cash value. So I think that with those of us with younger kids, we have more opportunities to save in towards their college. Those of you whose kids are already in college, then you're looking for those scholarships and grants. But with our babies, you have to invest into it so that at the end, if they don't get a scholarship, you still have something saved up for them. It's very important. Thank you.
Wonderful. My first one has already started college. I wish I'd known about this, but anyway. Okay, so I'd like to thank again all the members of the panel for the great, valuable information you've shared with the community today. And I'd like to thank all of you, parents, and whether you're parents or not, I thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have learned some valuable information that will help you in parenting your children, or if you're not a parent yet, will help you in the future when you start parenting your children. Thank you so much for being a part of our first forum. We're very excited that we've been able to have our first forum, and we're glad that you were able to be a part of this event. So again, don't forget to visit our website over the coming days, where we'll have uploaded some new information, ageusa.net. So from all of us at AGEUSA.net.
Esther, before you sign off, I do want to, and I didn't give a good introduction of who Steve there is, but he has a wide program, Steve and Alfred show in Chicago. I have been on their show 2 times. I want him to just tell us a little bit about what he does. I'm sure Steve is going to upload our video on their site and talk about our organization. We just started this organization. We are here in Texas, but we want to spread, and hopefully Chicago might be the next AGEUSA satellite branch. So Steve, do you want to share a little bit about what you do and how this has benefited you and how you will take that back to your audience?
Auntie Esther, do I have the floor?
Absolutely. We'd love to hear from you. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I was getting jealous when you guys were talking about Koga. I was just wondering, Koga does not exist in one area. So I see Nana was so proud of Koga. But I don't know if this was just a Dallas forum, but yes, this is true. I did not expect my good friend Martin Asai here, and I go way back with so many community programs that we have engaged in over the years. I did not expect him to put me on the spot, but it is true. I humbly have a radio program here in the Chicago area, which is an internet radio base. I am in communication. I have a degree in radio and television and production. So I do a little bit, and we have grown our base that we cater to mostly the immigrant community across the US, Canada, and the world, because we get viewers from all over the place because it's an internet base. So I am glad to be here. I just saw your flyer late this evening on one of the forums that Reverend Martin Osai participate in mentoring the youth, and it is called Siena Youth, and that was where I saw your flyer late this evening, and I jumped on right away. And so I will do the best that I can to propagate the news about this organization. I'm very enthused about all the information provided today, and I'll carry it on as much as I can. So it is a pleasure to be here.
Well, we are so pleased you're able to join us. And can you repeat the name of your program one more time in case anyone would like to find it online?
It is ACO Radio, and our show is on Mondays at 5 p.m. Central Time. It is called Steve and Alfred Show. It is a community based, and we provide information in terms of social programs and that we can provide to our youth, to ourselves here in the US. Most often others talk about politics and what have you, but we like to concentrate on like information that was given today, programs and activities that can benefit that often than not our Ghanaian or our immigrant community do not know of and do not take advantage of. So it's called Steve and Alfred Show. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have seen the messages in the chat, and I want to say thank you everyone for your kind words. And final time before I say goodbye, let me give anyone who has one final thing to say the opportunity to do so before I say goodbye. Anyone?
Okay, I just want to finalize something about parenting, especially we Africans. I'm first one. I'm also an African parent, so I'm not trying to be on your back. we are very quick in notifying children's unaccepted behaviors, and then we jump on them and reprimand them. Please look out for the good behavior times when the children are doing well, and compliment them, in the way that is meaningful to the child, speaking the child's love language. Some children like to be touched as an appreciation for what they do, or maybe they want word of affirmation. So please read your child's body language and help them to develop good behaviors instead of always saying no, no, no. There should be some yes, yes to some good behaviors. So it will encourage them, because according to child psychology, what you focus on is what will grow. So please focus on the good behavior so it will grow.
Awesome. That's a wonderful point. Let me allow the president of our organization, Rosemont Beecham, to say a final word before we leave, please.
Thank you, Esther. I just want to appreciate my panel, my members. You've done more than I even thought was going to happen. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for your information. I want to thank the KOGA people who are here. We appreciate you and thank you for our membership. I just want to thank everybody that was able to come here. I know people are busy. This is America. Everybody is busy, but you took some time to come and be with us. And I hope everything we did was very beneficial to you all. Visit our website because we'll put more information on there and help us grow this association. Thank you all and have a wonderful rest of the night.
Okay. On that perfect note, goodbye, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Bye.